from State Street Theater, continuing on with the JUNK Corona Radio Hour. This next episode of a Sherlock Holmes radio play features Peter Buckley as Sherlock Holmes, Tom Firk as Dr. John Watson, Laurie Sanborn, Ash Larson, Paul Henning, Carly Peterson, Stephanie Dose, Josie Ringhofer, David Henning, and Deb Kaler. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the State Street Theater in New Ulm, Minnesota. Thank you all for returning with us to hear a live performance of Murder in the Kasbah. Sponsored in part by Weigel's Kaiserhof, family owned and operated since 1938, and home to those famous barbecue ribs. You haven't eaten ribs until you've eaten ribs from the Kaiserhof. And while you're in, try a Ray salad with their secret homemade Ray salad dressing, or any number of German food items including schnitzel, spätzle, Landjägers, and other words that are hard to pronounce. Kaiserhof also offers a full cocktail bar, Shell's beer, 1919 root beer on tap, and wines from Morgan Creek Vineyards. There's even an old-fashioned jukebox for music and for your dining enjoyment. There's no place quite like the Kaiserhof. Stop in for a delicious meal and say hello to Jan and all the friendly staff. Now, Weigel's Kaiserhof invites you to listen in as Dr. Watson tells us another exciting adventure he shared with his good old friend, that master detective, Sherlock Holmes. Time to now visit our good friend and host, Dr. Watson.
Good evening, Mr. Bartell.
Good evening, Doctor.
Settle yourself down and get your pipe going.
Thank you, Doctor. Now, before intermission, you told us that tonight's story took place in the Kasbah at Algiers.
Ah, yes, the Kasbah. I remember it as a place of countless streets winding up and down, past colorful cafes where 100 tongues were spoken, and often a street would end in shadowy darkness which a man would be foolhardy to enter alone. Yes, Mr. Bartell, that was the Kasbah that Sherlock Holmes and I knew in the winter of '99.
Well, how did you happen to be out there, Doctor?
Do you mind if I tell you the story from the start, Mr. Bartell? It really began on a wintry night in Baker Street at the conclusion of the strange murder in Montrevor Castle. A charming young girl sat on the sofa of our lodgings in Baker Street and talked to us.
But, Mr. Holmes, you can't say you'll have nothing more to do with the Montrevors.
My dear Miss Tetfield, I found the true murderer of the Dowager Countess, and he committed suicide. Surely the case is ended.
Yes, Mr. Holmes, you found the real murderer. But now I want you to find the unfortunate young man who fled England 5 years ago when he was suspected of the crime.
This is a new development, Miss Tetfield. Please tell us about it.
It's Douglas Milton that I'm talking about.
Oh, yes. He's the heir to the title, wasn't he?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. He was a sensitive, artistic boy, and when he knew that he was under suspicion, he ran away. Of course, everyone regarded his flight as an admission of guilt, that is, until you found the real culprit, Mr. Holmes.
I imagine, Miss Tetfield, that your interest in the missing boy is not entirely, shall we say, altruistic?
I'm in love with him, Dr. Watson.
Oh.
We were engaged to be married when he ran away. Mr. Holmes, you've got to find him. He must know that his name has been cleared and that he's inherited the title.
Miss Tetfield, have you any direct news, any letter from your fiancé since he left 5 years ago?
None.
Any clues to his hiding place?
Only this. It's a painting I received anonymously a year after he had left.
Oh.
It was sent from a forwarding address in London. Here it is, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you.
A small oil painting. A very good one, too, I'd say.
Yes, it's a splendid sense of composition, and his use of color is unusually brilliant. Do you recognize this painting as the work of your fiancée, Miss Tetfield?
I'm certain of it.
Yes. Wonderful use of color. Observe the delicate shadings of that sunset and the brilliant green of the oasis. This scene is extraordinarily reminiscent of the desert in North Africa.
Yes, that's what made me say I was certain he'd gone abroad, Mr. Holmes.
But why should he go to North Africa?
A good place, Watson, for an Englishman who imagines himself to be escaping justice. Remember, the Foreign Legion is stationed there.
Do you think he might have joined the Legion, Mr. Holmes?
It would seem logical. No questions are asked of those who join it, and its colorful obscurity might easily appeal to a young fellow in trouble. Oh, hello.
What is it, Holmes?
There are quite a few grains of sand in between the canvas and the frame here. Miss Tetfield, do you mind if I pry the canvas loose?
Do anything you like, Mr. Holmes, if it gives you any clue to Douglas's whereabouts.
Give me your penknife, will you, Watson?
Here you are.
Thanks, old chap. Wait a minute. Here we are.
Can you see anything?
Look. The words Sharif and El Afroun are stamped here. Sharif is probably the framer's name, and El Afroun is a town some 50 miles from Algiers. That settles it. Miss Tetfield, I accept your case. Watson and I will go to Africa and try to find your fiancé, Douglas Milton.
Oh, Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. I have heard of you so often, but I never thought I should see you here at the headquarters of the Foreign Legion. What can I do for you, gentlemen?
Well, Colonel de Brision, I'm trying to trace an Englishman who has been missing during the past 4 years. There's reason to believe that he might have joined the Legion.
I shall look in my records. Let me see. 4 years ago would be 1895. Well, if Sherlock Holmes is tracking him, then I suppose he was in trouble in his own country. If he was in trouble, he might easily have come to us. We ask no questions. 97, 96, 95. In that year, 3 young Englishmen joined us. One of them died of dysentery 2 years ago in Sidi Rashid. One of them deserted 18 months ago, and we have been unable to trace him. The third is my adjutant, who brought you into my office just now.
And he is, I would say, about 3 inches shorter than Douglas Milton. And men do not shrink in the Foreign Legion. Colonel?
They do not, Mr. Holmes.
Then the fellow who deserted must be our man.
Unless it's the one who died of dysentery. Colonel de Brision, how would you advise us to set about trying to find a deserter?
Oh, Mr. Holmes, there is only one place in Algeria where a man can hide from the Foreign Legion and remain hidden.
Oh, and what's that place?
The Kasbah in Algiers.
Then, that's our destination, Watson.
Oh, be very careful, please, gentlemen. The Kasbah is a place where the law is exiled. The police have no jurisdiction there. The only rule is that of strength, violence, and trickery.
We shall be very cautious, I assure you. Goodbye, Colonel de Brision, and thank you for your help.
Well, I must say, I think Colonel de Brision rather exaggerated the dangers of the Kasbah. Suppose you're going to tell me this cafe here is the headquarters for a dope smuggling ring, a white slaving or something.
Its ramifications are even more extensive than those you mentioned.
You're joking, Holmes.
I assure you I am not, old fellow.
What?
My old friend Dumal is chief of police in Algiers. When I told him of our mission, he advised me to come here. 500 franc note, and the proprietor can obtain any and all information regarding the underworld. For as little as 200 francs, he can arrange a murder. So that gives you some idea of the relative values in the Kasbah.
Good Lord! Then you've already spoken to the proprietor?
Oh, yes. Charming, scoundrelly fellow by the name of Raffi. I gave him 500 francs and asked him to set his underworld grapevine in motion to see whether an Englishman living here in hiding in the Kasbah could be found.
And I thought we'd come here for a quiet meal.
Here comes Raffi now. Let's hope he has news for us. Here we are, Raffi. Come, sit down, won't you?
Raffi works fast, does he not, Mr. Holmes? Your friend is...
As my friend knows that you're working with me. What have you found out?
A drink first. The tongue of Raffi is parched. Would you have me die of thirst before I give you my news? Vermouth cassis.
Oui, Monsieur Raffi.
Oh, you have news for me then?
But yes.
Good. What is it?
First, you will pay me more money, no?
But I gave you 500 francs. You said that you'd do the job for that.
Can I help it if some tongues are more costly to make wag than others? It took the 500 to get the wag. Am I to have nothing for my own trouble?
Votre vermouth cassis, Monsieur Raffi.
Good. The gentleman will pay for it.
There you are.
Merci, Monsieur.
I will drink to your health, gentlemen. Both of you. You will pay me more money, no?
But my friend's already given you 500. You should stick to your bargain, my good fellow.
My information is a bargain at 750 francs. It will be a bargain at 1,000. But Raffi will let you have it for 750 because he likes you.
I see.
You will give it to me, no?
And if I refuse?
Then you will get no information. And perhaps I spread news in the Kasbah that makes it uncomfortable for you gentlemen to be there.
Great Scott, this is blackmail!
I get the money, no?
Oh, you're a scoundrel, Raffi.
Of course I am a scoundrel.
Here's your money. The information.
There is an Englishman hiding here in the Kasbah. I do not know his name, but he's tall and fair-haired. I cannot tell you where he lives, but if you go to the Cafe of 1,000 Sighs, you will find a girl who sings there, a girl who sings like a nightingale. Her name is Aisha, and she can lead you to your Englishman.
A girl named Aisha in the Cafe of 1,000 Sighs.
That is right. I would suggest that you go there in disguise. Two well-dressed Englishmen might find themselves in trouble. For a small fee, say 200 francs, I will escort you there myself.
Thank you. Yes, I think we can manage by ourselves, Raffi.
If your business is concluded quickly and time weighs heavy on your hands, Raffi can take you to some places of rare interest. Dancing girls that wither one's eyeballs with their beauty. 400 or 500 francs, gentlemen.
Thank you, Raffi. Thank you. I have a feeling that time will not weigh heavily on our hands. Good night.
You work too hard, gentlemen. You should learn how to play. Good night.
Upon my soul, I think that fellow's the biggest blackguard I ever met.
Oh, I quite agree, old chap. But he is amusing.
By the way, Holmes, don't you think when this case is finished we might have some time on our hands?
Oh, Watson, you're incorrigible. But I think... Watson.
What is it?
Look at the man sitting over there in the corner, by himself.
By Jove, yes. His face seems familiar. We've seen him before somewhere.
Of course we have. His name is Oliver Lemming. We met him at the inquest on the Montrevor case.
So we did. Now what on earth do you suppose he's doing here in the Kasbah?
Not on holiday, I'm sure. Mr. Oliver Lemming, if you recall, is a cousin of Douglas Milton's. The man we're searching for. If Milton were ever declared legally dead, Mr. Lemming over there would inherit the title.
Looks to me as if we're not the only people in the Kasbah searching for the missing heir.
That's true, old fellow. Come on, let's go and talk to the gentleman. Mr. Oliver Lemming, how very odd to meet you here.
Well, well, Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, won't you sit down?
Thank you.
Well, it's a small place, isn't it? Or has someone said that before? I wondered if you'd spot me over here in the corner.
Oh, you saw us then.
Of course. But you seem to be in such deep conversation with that scoundrel Rafi. I didn't like to disturb you.
Very considerate of you, I'm sure. Why are you here, Mr. Lemming?
Oh, I'm making a business trip. This is my day off.
As I recall it, you're in the publishing business.
Correct. What a memory you have, Mr. Holmes.
It seems peculiar that you should be on a business trip here. Are you planning on opening a publishing house in Algiers, or are you searching the Kasbah for new authors?
Why not? I'm a great believer in encouraging new talent.
Mr. Lemming, why don't you admit that you're here for the express purpose of trying to find your cousin, Douglas Milton?
Mr. Holmes, you've discovered my secret. The great Sherlock Holmes and his watchdog have their eagle eyes on me. They know that I succeed to the title if Douglas Milton dies.
Yes, Mr. Lemming, we know that fact.
And you have fathomed my plan to find Douglas Milton before you and kill him so that I may inherit the title. How lucky I am to meet you in the Kasbah, where you cannot arrest me. Ha! Well, it's a race against time, gentlemen. But I have a head start, as you will soon find out. Goodbye, and the best of luck to you.
What an extraordinary fellow. He's joking, of course.
I believe not, Watson. I think he labors under the whimsical belief that the best method of discounting the truth is to state it so boldly as it will not be believed.
Great Scott! Then we must work fast.
Yes, old chap, we must. I'm sure that we are entrants in a race against death. We must get back to the hotel and into our disguises as quickly as possible. After that, we shall visit a young lady named Aisha in the Cafe of 1,000 Sighs. And I am certain, Watson, that it will be the first time that two men have ever entered the Kasbah for the express purpose of preventing a murder.
We'll hear the rest of Dr. Watson's story in just about a second, which gives me time to tell you about another one of our show sponsors, Mike's Collision and Repair in New Ulm. Mike's Collision is your one-stop shop for auto body, mechanical, and glass repair. They do it all. They also work on semis, motorcycles, but not horse and carriage, and have a full painting and sandblasting department. Trusted since 1973 for all your auto body needs. Trust Mike's Collision and Repair. Visit them online at mikescollision.com or stop by in person at 809 20th Street North in New Ulm. Well, Doctor, I can hardly wait to hear what happened next. You and Sherlock Holmes went back to the hotel, I suppose?
Yes, Mr. Bartell. Holmes quickly adopted the disguise of an Arab guide, while I assumed the role of a tourist, and we started off on our search. Outside the Cafe of 1,000 Sighs, we met with a rude shock. Good Lord! It's the fellow we met in the cafe!
Yes, Oliver Lemming, with a knife between his shoulders.
He's dead, Holmes. Shouldn't we get in touch with the police?
What can they do? Remember, there is no law in the Kasbah. In any case, this man is beyond our help. Our job is to protect the living. Come on, old fellow, let's go to the Cafe of 1,000 Sighs and find this girl, Aisha. The girl, Rafi says, sings like a nightingale.
L'amour de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur, il part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. C'est toi pour moi pour toi dans la vie. Tu me l'as dit, m'as juré pour la vie. Dès que je t'aperçois, alors je sens dans moi mon cœur qui bat. La, 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 la,
Oh, so that's the girl Aisha. She's very beautiful.
Don't forget our role of tourist and guide, old chap. Fende, would you wish to meet this Aisha?
Oh, very much indeed.
I will see if it can be arranged, Effendi. Wait here for me, Watson. I'll see what I can do.
Right you are, Holmes. Be careful now.
Mademoiselle Aisha,
What do you want, greasy one?
there is an Englishman at the table over there. He wishes to talk to Aisha.
Which one is he?
The man who sits at the table in the corner. He is very rich, Aisha, and he admires you a great deal. He told me to give you this 500-franc note.
So, very well. You may bring him to my rooms. The door is at top of stairwell, to the right.
Good, Aisha. I fetch him.
I shall be waiting.
Aisha will see you, Effendi. Follow me, please.
Oh, very well. I hope you know how you're going to handle this, Holmes.
Don't worry, Watson. In this case, I think honesty will be the best policy.
Well, I'm not so sure. This place is a thieves' kitchen if ever I saw one. You'd better be careful.
First door to the right. Top of the stairs. Ah, this is it.
Come in. Oh, come and sit over here, Mr. Englishman. Greasy one. You may leave us.
Mademoiselle, I may as well tell you at once that I am not an Arab guide. My name is Sherlock Holmes.
What do you want with me? Why you trick your way in here?
Don't be frightened, mademoiselle. I can explain our mission in a very few words. My friend and I have come in search of an Englishman by the name of Douglas Milton. We have good news for him.
What make you think I might know of him?
A gentleman by the name of Raffy suggested that you might.
What is your good news for this Englishman?
That he has been cleared of suspicion of murder, and that he is the rightful Earl of Montrevor.
That means when he knows of this, he will leave the Kasbah and return to his country.
Naturally, my dear.
I do not know this man. I have never heard of him. Here is your 500 francs. Goodbye.
Not so fast, Aisha, mon petit chou. I've been listening from behind these curtains. Gentlemen, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Douglas Milton.
Douglas Milton, we've found you at last.
It gives me infinite pleasure to have succeeded in my mission. How do you do, sir?
This is very exciting.
It is indeed.
Yes, I think the occasion calls for a drink. What'll it be, gentlemen?
Oh, I think a glass of port would be very nice, sir.
Yes, it would be most appropriate for toasting the new Earl of Montrevor.
Yes, splendid, splendid. Aisha, bring glasses and a bottle of port, and some creme de menthe for me.
You are not going to England. I will never let you leave me.
Oh, stop being so melodramatic, Aisha. Please bring 2 bottles and some glasses.
Oh, very well. I am sorry.
Mr. Holmes, I can't tell you how I appreciate your trouble in coming all this way to find me, but, well, I must tell you at once. There's one problem that makes it difficult for me to leave this country. You see, I deserted from the Foreign Legion.
Yes, we know that, my boy. In fact, that's how we first got onto your trail.
I shouldn't let that fact worry you, Mr. Milton. I'm certain the British consul in Algiers can arrange to have any charges dropped against the peer of the realm.
Oh, well, I never thought of that.
Here are the bottles.
You must excuse the glasses, gentlemen. Tumblers are hardly correct, I suppose, but, well, they won't spoil the flavor, I'm sure. 2 glasses of port and creme de menthe for me. Only 3 glasses, Aisha? Bring a glass for yourself.
I do not wish to drink.
And I insist that you do. Bring a glass, Aisha.
Why should I drink if you are leaving me?
Mr. Milton, do you know Oliver Lemming?
Oh, yes, of course. He's my cousin. Yes, he came here half an hour ago and threatened me.
Did you also know that he's lying dead in the street? Murdered?
Well, yes, I did. If we weren't in the Kasbah, I wouldn't tell you this, but Aisha stabbed him. She followed him when he left here, killed him, and then slipped back just in time to sing her song a few moments ago. Oh, you needn't look so shocked, Dr. Watson. Life is cheap in the Kasbah, and Aisha is a girl of violent passions. Come on, let's drink.
A toast to the new Earl of Montrevor.
Excuse me, sir. You took the wrong glass. You're drinking my port.
Oh, silly mistake. I can't bear port. Very un-English of me, I'm afraid. But, well, after all these years, I don't feel particularly English. In fact, I'll probably find it very hard to adjust myself to the old life when I go back. Or perhaps I should say if I go back.
Since you feel that way about it, Mr. Milton, why go? You could claim the title and the revenues of the estate without leaving Algeria. You could stay here and live on the income.
I didn't realize that would be possible. Are you sure I could do that?
Oh, yes, I am quite certain of it. But if you doubt my word, I suggest we all adjourn to the British consulate in Algiers. They can put you straight on the matter.
That's a good idea. Let's go over there at once.
Aha! And now I have been listening to you, my friend. You are planning to leave me. And once you go from the Kasbah, I shall never see you again.
Put down that knife, Aisha.
I will not let you go. You belong to me. If you try to leave me now, I will kill you.
Put down that knife, Aisha. You've done enough damage for one night. Put it down.
Let me
Put
go.
it down.
Let me go.
Down. She twisted the knife on herself as she fell.
Holmes, help me turn her over. She's dead, Mr. Milton.
Poor Aisha.
It's a bloody path that leads to the Montrevor title, sir. I suggest that we see that this poor girl's body is taken care of, and then go to the British consulate without any further delay. Now that we're at the consulate, Mr. Milton, I suggest that you swear on oath that you are Douglas Milton, heir to the Montrevor estate. This gentleman is a commissioner of oaths. Then we can go in and see the consul.
Very well.
Now, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I hereby solemnly swear that I am Douglas Milton, the missing heir to the Montrevor estate.
I hereby swear that I am Douglas Milton, missing heir to the Montrevor estate.
Thank you, sir. And now, if you'll sign the statement here, these gentlemen can witness it.
There you are.
Thank you, sir. And now, if you gentlemen will sign.
Yes, certainly.
Thank you, gentlemen. The document is now legal.
Splendid. Let's go over and see the consul.
Not yet, my friend. Watson, this man is not Douglas Milton.
What the devil are you talking about?
There is no law in the Kasbah, sir, so you cannot be punished for the 2 murders you committed there. But now that your avarice has tempted you here to Algiers, where you've been foolish enough to sign a false statement, I think we can at least settle you very nicely for desertion, false impersonation, forgery, and perjury.
Holmes, what do you mean?
The story should be obvious, old chap. Oliver Lemming did track down the deserter. Recognition was uncertain after so many years, but at least it gave this gentleman the idea of impersonating the real Douglas Milton, a friend of his.
You have a lively imagination, Mr. Holmes.
The real Douglas Milton died of dysentery 2 years ago in Sidi Rashed. As soon as the idea of impersonating Milton was born, Lemming had to die.
Your theories are very interesting, but you haven't a shred of proof. I say that I'm Douglas Milton. How are you going to prove otherwise?
Very simply, my dear sir. Douglas Milton was a painter who excelled in the use of vivid colors. You, sir, suffer from the quite common malady of red-green color blindness. Less than an hour ago, you mistook a glass of port, which is red, for a glass of creme de menthe, which is green. I knew at once that you were an impostor.
You're cleverer than I thought you were, Holmes. Goodbye.
Here, come back.
No, Watson, don't go after him.
But we can't let him escape, Holmes.
Don't worry, old chap. He won't escape. I sent a message to Colonel de Brision. If you go to the window, I think you'll find that the consulate is being watched. The Legion has a long memory for desertion. I don't think he'll get very far.
Oh, they got him, Holmes. Shot him as he was trying to run away.
A just death for him. He lived a life of violence and treachery, Watson. It's only fitting that he should die in the same manner.
Doctor, that was a swell story. But you know something? I wish you hadn't disillusioned me about the Kasbah.
Disillusioned you? Why, what do you mean?
Well, before I heard your story, whenever somebody mentioned the Kasbah, I'd always visualize a very glamorous, romantic sort of place, full of beautiful women, every one of them a ringer for Eddie Lamar.
No.
Oh, you betcha. And I could just see myself, handsome, dashing, going up to one of those beautiful girls and whispering in my fine masked accent, Tell me, is this your first time at the State Street Theater? Isn't it wonderful? Well, you must admit, Doctor, that is the truth. The performances that come out of this place are spectacular.
You're incorrigible.
And speaking of State Street Theater, pandemic or no pandemic, the show must go on. And that's exactly what's happening here at State Street Theater. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is returning to State Street Theater on Saturday, October 31st, with the movie starting at 8:30 p.m. This show stars our own Peter Buckley and Ash Larson. The 1975 movie is about a newly engaged couple that break down in an isolated area and must pay a call to the bizarre residence of Dr. Frankenfurter. The movie is rated R, and those under 18 must be accompanied by an adult. Also coming to the State Street Theater main stage is the best American children's book of the past 200 years, according to the Children's Literature Association, Charlotte's Web. All of the enchanting characters are here: Wilbur, Fern, and most of all, that extraordinary spider, Charlotte. Charlotte's Web will take place on November 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Tickets for all State Street Theater events are available at statestreetnewulm.org. And finally, for our last sponsor this evening, we had an anonymous donor who had this message to say. This episode of A Sherlock Holmes Adventure was written by Dennis Green and Anthony Boucher and was suggested by an incident in a Sir Arthur Conan Doyle story. This Sherlock Holmes series is directed by Michael J. Kester, produced by Christina Miller Kester, and with sound provided by none other than the one and only Nate Spurl. Our radio actors tonight included Peter Buckley, Tom Firk, Brenda Nielsen, Carly Peterson, Josie Ringhofer, Tom Kaler, Stephanie Dose, Lori Sanborn, Ash Larson, Paul Henning, David Henning, and Deb Kaler. Special thanks to all of our show sponsors: Sip It Coffee and Bagels, Minnesota Ice, Weigel's Kaiseroff, 4C Studios, and Mike's Collision in Repair. Folks, please thank these local businesses for supporting your community theater by taking your business to them. They deserve your support, as the JUNK Corona Radio Hour would not be possible without theirs. Well, that just about does it, folks. Thank you so much for canceling all your plans to quarantine at home and choosing to be with us this evening, masks and all. Live from State Street Theater in New Ulm, Minnesota, this has been the JUNK Corona Radio Hour. Thank you, and stay healthy.